Loose Women, live. It's Kay Adams, Kelly Brook, Judy Love and Jane Moore.
Oh, we've got two minxes in between us here, Jane. Kelly and Judy. Hello, welcome to your Friday Loose Women. We are getting you ready for the weekend with all of this. 25 years since the UK's #1 parenting platform began. We're talking to Mumsnet founder Justine Roberts, CBE. She'll be sharing the highs and lows of the site and talks about everything from politics to punamis, relationships to nappy rash. And Princess Catherine, apparently a fan as well. You liked that, Judy, didn't you? You like that? Also coming up...
Oh, we could take some of it.
Ready to go on a magic carpet ride?
A drug scandal has hit Coronation Street and Addy is about to be confronted for his involvement. But just how easy is it to talk to your kids about the dangers of drugs? And sitting down for the chat really work? We're not sure. And the eagerly awaited third and final series of the dystopian horror Squid Game is here. The creator has said it will be the darkest yet, with no promise of a happy ending. So you know what I'm going to ask? Do you always want a happy ending? Say nothing, Judy. Say nothing. Do not go there.
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of happy endings, let's hope that Jeff Bezos gets his. The billionaire's wedding bonanza began last night with the first of 3 parties in Venice. But reports today suggest that Jeff and Lauren Sanchez are actually already married. They got married a month ago, it is reported, with a prenup firmly in place. So, Kelly, should every couple sign a prenup?
We did. And it wasn't for financial reasons. I think prenups have a bad rap, but I think they're a really good opportunity for you to have a lot of difficult conversations when everything's good and rosy and everyone's on speaking terms. Because sometimes, you know, a lot of marriages don't end with a happy ending, Kay.
Yeah. So what were the difficult conversations then?
So I think one of the big question marks for me, my husband being French, was like, if things were to go sour and we were to divorce, like, where is the marital home? Is it in France? Is it in Italy? Is it in the UK? Is it in America? Because we've travelled in those 4 countries and lived and worked in those 4 countries for many years. And at the time of our marriage, we were living in the UK, but we actually got married under Italian law in Rome. So it was a really complicated situation. So we had to kind of sit down and go, right, if we were to have children, you know, where would they be? Where would they go to school? Where would we both live? And where would that home be?
So it's more about kids than money?
It was more about children and family and what that family unit would look like. And it was, you know, it wasn't an easy conversation because it's not romantic, is it, to sit there and start figuring out who's going to get this house, where you're going to live, or you're going to have a 3-bedroom house, you're going to have a 1-bedroom house, like what? So it's kind of financial, but it's also kind of logistical as well, because what you wouldn't want is, you know, Jeremy to turn around to me one day and be like, oh, let's go and live in France for 3 years. You know, we've got 2 little kids. It would be a lovely, you know, opportunity for them to know my culture, and then I'm stuck out there and it all goes sour, and then I don't speak French. I'm stuck in a country
when you explain
where
like
I've got no
it's
network
so
of support. So that's kind of what it was for us. So I think prenups are a very good idea. I don't know how successful they are when it comes to being held up in court, though, because...
I think it depends which country you're in.
Well, apparently they're not automatically enforceable by courts in England and Wales. In England and Wales. But don't you think the conversation around them's changed? I mean, when we started talking about this stuff, Jane, I mean, people didn't want to go there because it wasn't romantic, and what about everlasting love, etc. But, I mean, as Kelly's explained, a lot of people just see it as a kind of sensible...
And also, I think if you are marrying somebody from another country, I think that is a really smart conversation to have, because there are a lot of... I once made a documentary specifically about people who've married from different countries, about arguing about where the children are going to live. Yeah. That is a very real thing. So I think that was a really, you know, good common sense. I mean, me and Gary didn't have a prenup, I think, because we were quite... I mean, it was like 2 weeks before my 40th birthday that we got married, and he was like 46, and we both already were quite equal in... We already had a child each, and I think it was all quite equal in everything. So it didn't even cross our minds. But it's interesting, the Jeff Bezos thing, because I mean, obviously Lauren Sanchez has been married before. She's also got a lot of her own money, so I don't think it's an issue. But he, I remember, was very good when he got divorced from his first wife, Mackenzie. At the time, and it might still be, or maybe Bill Gates, it was the biggest divorce settlement in history. And he very much, she was part of the business. They started Amazon in their garage.
Yeah, wow.
And it was a book sales website. I remember it when it started. And, you know, they would pack up the books themselves together, send them out to people. Wow. Absolutely. And so he was always very much like, well, she's as much as an integral part of this success as I am, which I thought was great. Because, you know, you do hear sometimes a lot of divorces, somebody might go,
well, it gets mucky, doesn't
you know,
it?
I've been earning all this money while she's been sitting at home looking after the children. And it's like, yeah, but that platform is what's enabled you to go and be successful.
Exactly.
I think it's crazy to be in a relationship and you cannot have the conversation about money. I don't think people should get offended these days if someone wants a prenup, you know?
See, I didn't think you would say that, because you're all about the romance.
Yeah, I am about the romance, but I've got sense. Do you know what I mean? That just come on, this is someone you're going to spend your life with, someone that should be your confidant. You should be able to talk to them about everything. You're someone you have intimate moments with. If you can't sit down and say, babes, this is what I had before you, and actually, especially if you're two people who've got children from previous relationships, you need to make sure that in that moment, God forbid something happens, their children are respected and looked after as well. And people forget about that. And I think it just takes away any issue, because look, emotions, when you're in the height of love, it's all beautiful. When you're in the height of hate, it's a different thing. So just sort it out.
There is an old saying where they say you almost have to do a prenup imagining that you're at the height of hate.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, you can't. Well, we did do a poll on this, and I think it was 52% said that they would sign a prenup. So, you know, that's quite... So talking about the romance then, Judy, of course, this is a second marriage for Jeff Bezos. Well, what are you You're a romance expert. So... And by the way, I said punami.
Yes, I realised that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so almost half of marriages ending in divorce. He's going into his second marriage. I don't know whether... Was there a gap? Jane knows all about Jeff Bezos' life. I don't know why whether there was a gap between number one and number two. But it's that moving on thing.
They were both married when they met.
Right.
But I think they both said that they're married, they were separated.
Right, OK, that is interesting. So it's whether or not you should have a bit of a gap between big relationship 1 and big relationship 2, 3, 4, 5, or not.
Trying to get to number 1. I think there should be some, you know, some relationships break down even when you're in it. You've kind of left emotionally anyway, a year or two or whenever before. But I think that it is important for you to have a moment of self-reflection and a moment about just putting back into yourself. Because any relationship, whether it's 6 months, 10 years, you invest so much of yourself. So I think before jumping into something else, myself personally, I always look like, why did the relationship break down? It's easy to look at the other person and say, oh, they were the one and they broke my heart. But what did I do? How did I...
Really?
Yeah, because I want to learn from the mistakes so I don't bring that into another relationship. And it might be something like, actually, I knew that person wasn't for me, or maybe I wasn't ready to have the relationship, or maybe I ignored, you know, the red flags, or maybe I'm frightened of commitment. There might be all different things that someone might have, but I think that time out gives you a moment to kind of look at yourself. There's nothing wrong with, you know, elevating and evolving, and that break can do that.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I think it's a brilliant approach, but it's not always easy to do, particularly, as you say, if emotions are high. You know, you do tend to think that bleep, bleep, bleep. You know, they've done everything wrong and I haven't. I mean, you're also a bit of a relationships expert, Kelly, if you don't mind me saying.
Do you know what? My friend's son, he had his first heartbreak. He's only a teenager and he was so upset. And I remember me and his mum going, oh, you know, you'll get over it. Don't worry. Just take some time out. Like you were saying, Judy, you know, just like get some hobbies, go out with your friends, just enjoy your single life. And his dad went, what's wrong with him? What, he's broken? He goes, son, you don't move out of your house until you've got another house to move into. And I thought that is a classic man thing, isn't it? Like, the thought of him being alone for 2 minutes.
I think there's a few women that feel like that as well.
Feel like that, don't they?
I think it depends why a relationship ends and on what basis. You know, if it's sort of just like withers on the vine, then maybe it's a different thing. But I've had a lot of conversations with people over the years, particularly if they've had a bad breakup, where they go, that is it, I'm never getting married again.
Yeah, never
And you have
again.
to kind of say, yeah, but hang on, not everybody's the same person. Don't judge everybody by how that person behaved with you, you know? You've got to kind of come into everything. But I think that's where what you just said is right, that if you take time out and you know yourself, you know that you're then not bringing all of that into the next relationship.
And, you know, obviously, have some time. Don't stay out there too long. Do you know what I mean? You've got to get back out there. And maybe you might not date, but get in the mingle, meet people, get your confidence back, have conversations, be able to interact with the kind of people that you like.
You also
Just
might
like
be
casual
looking...
sex.
Yeah. Okay. I thought you was married.
What was that again, Kelly? I'm just writing it down.
But it's funny,
Casual
like,
sex.
when you're in your 20s...
No strings attached.
Like, all of us were in our 20s, we would probably just go, is he hot, is he not, you know, as to whether... And it's so funny, when you've got daughters, it's like you think about it in a whole other way. Now I look and I go, never mind, is he hot? I'm like, is he kind? Is he this? Is he got your back? Is he going to treat you well? Yeah, in a way that I never thought about for myself.
I wouldn't say that to my daughters in their 20s.
No, but do you not think that in your head?
Really?
Get out there.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of time for being sensible in your 30s and 40s, not in your 20s.
Yeah.
Don't you think, Kelly?
Casual sex.
Me and Kelly, Me and Kelly.
You have
Separated at birth.
You have so many similarities.
Quite hard to tell us apart sometimes. It really is. Still to come, do you always want a happy ending? Is it OK to ban online shoppers for too many returns, Judy? And it is the drug scandal causing a stir in Corrie. So how do you talk to your kids about drugs, and can you trust them to say no? Our personal stories coming up.